Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. I'm your host, Annalena. As always, very delighted to have you. And today I have a wonderful guest here with me. Her name is Sara Klute Behn, and I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you so much for having me, Annalena. I'm honored.
Yeah, so the reason why we got together today is because I have known Sarah now. I think it's almost a year. We found each other sometime last year through the beautiful internet, and we have reconnected over human design. Mostly, she has taken my certification, and Sarah is a very ambitious, heart-driven entrepreneur. I love her energy and yeah, just your compassion. Like you really I can tell you love what you do. Let's put it this way, right? And we have
Mhm.
very similar roots. I also started with health coaching. That's also where you are at, right? You have been in the coaching space for some time. And Sarah started to share that she's going to create a wonderful offering at the beginning of 2026. And I said, yeah, so I'm going to be part of it. So we're going to tell you guys all about it. And I was telling her, like, you know what? I feel like this is such a beautiful offering. I think the best way for me to share this is on the podcast rather than just, sending that one perfect email and stuff like that, because I think it's so important for you to share your energy. I think energy is always more than anything. So, with that, Sarah, tell us a little bit about yourself first,
Sure.
like your background, what is it that you're doing in the world, and then we'll talk about this wonderful offer that we're all part, along with a lot of wonderful other humans.
Yes, that sounds wonderful. Thank you so much again for having me here to share the message. And I am Sara Klute Behn. I am a health coach, as you mentioned. I like to call myself a lifestyle and longevity coach because I feel that lifestyle is so important in our health coaching genre in terms of helping people see this as an everyday changes that they can make, and then also longevity. So I bring in a background with actually with yoga therapy. And so whenever I would talk about yoga or yoga therapy, I would say this is an avenue or a way that you can keep doing what you love doing as long as you want to for your entire life. So when I look at lifestyle and longevity, it's important to me that people don't follow a prescriptive method, but tools and resources that help them guide themselves back to their inner wisdom. So that's why I call my health coaching company Your Wise Self with Sarah, because I believe that we are innately all built to know our own wisdom, but oftentimes it's peeling back the layers of conditioning that we've received through multiple different ways throughout our life. And that's really where human design also comes in,
Hmm.
because I found human design actually back in 2014, and it was life changing for me at the time. And so I had made a resolve this last year that I really wanted to be officially certified. So I started searching and put in a few key things that I was looking for in a guide and in a teacher, and up popped Annalena. So I got connected with you in that way, and I'm so grateful for all the work you're doing because you're really also making a lot of waves in the human design world as well, which is beautiful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I just remembered that you actually found me through AI, right? Because you had a
I did.
conversation. I want to have somebody that does this and all these things, and then I showed up. So it's one of the
Exactly.
wonderful ways how AI can help us connect and save us time, right? Because you would have to do all the research yourself on the internet. Yeah, and
Exactly.
I love this so much because this is exactly what I stand for. This, you have the answers, right? And this is like your wise self. That's what I also love about your company name and slogan, because we're not here to tell you what to do. We're not here to give you a prescription for anything. That's not our job. And we don't have the 5 steps that everybody needs to take for the success, right?
Yeah.
I think we have all learned that's kind of a fluke. It's about bringing you back home to yourself and connecting with that inner wise self so that you know what it is that matters to you. And it's going to be different for all of us. And that's why, obviously, I love human design. It's called the science of differentiation. It shows us how, like, we are so different. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are one, right? We are so connected, but we have
Yes.
such different traits we bring to the table. And I think that also makes life so juicy and beautiful that we have such beautiful variety where yeah, we may have similar interests, like you and I, we love human design, but how we're gonna get it into the world, it's
Hmm.
gonna be so, so different and so unique.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that we're just bombarded by so many messages in this day and age with social media and all of these, I should be doing this or this program or this
Mm.
process. And so, yeah, going back to what is innately, important to you, what is your wisdom? What does your body tell you is the right thing for you over what the world and all the noise out there is telling you?
Exactly. And with that, I would love for you to share about this wonderful community offering that, so you're listening to this episode, it's coming out January 6th, and
Mhm.
this is all happening. We're starting on January 11th, called the Wise Year. So tell us all about what is this and how did it come
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of a fun part too, is that I think I mentioned that in this last year, I was able to step into from my corporate job into my health coaching business full time. And so this time of the year always speaks to us, where we're heading into a new year. And I don't like resolutions. I'm also one of those people, but I do like intentions, or it kind of gives us this clean slate approach to this is a new year, a fresh start. People are looking for opportunities for support and ways that they can tune into their inner wisdom. So ultimately, I dreamt about this for several years now that, oh, when I have more time, what is it going to look like? Is it going to be a vision board, meeting or gathering? What was it going to be? And I actually, ironically, had met with an intuitive guide recently at that point. And then I also read a book that was by Kyle Gray about angels are with us now. And I just felt very divinely guided because one morning I woke up and I knew exactly what my offering was going to be. My business is Your Wise Self with Sarah, so it made sense to do Your Wise Year. And because I know that the wisdom isn't just about me, I have a collective community of people who have also supported me, taught me, gave me great wisdom and insights along the path. I reached out to them, and I think that everybody said yes, with the exception of one person that ended up having to back out, but I was able to quickly replace her with someone else that was willing to come on board because you all have such a wonderful message to share. So, again, it was one of those things where I felt like it was important to not just have one event, that it was something that was a support all year long because people come into January wanting to make big changes and then we fall off by February or March. And so this is a way that I felt would be important to keep that energy going all year long. So, yes, I do realize there's a little bit of a commitment there involved with being involved in something that is a year long, but we will start on the 11th with an online retreat. Everything is virtual, everything is recorded. So, honestly, people can jump in whenever they feel called to jump into your wise year.
Mhm. Yeah, so for me, this is really a wonderful opportunity to everyone that may be looking for a mentor, right? Or some kind of support and accountability and also community. And so on January 11, we're going to come together. I think it's going to be 11 total or 12?
It's
Okay.
11,
Yeah,
11
yeah,
leaders.
exactly.
Yes.
So it's all 11, 11. 11 has always been
Yes.
my favorite number too.
Me too. Me too.
Since I was a kid, actually. So on January 11, we come together. We each have like a 20-minute, like a TEDx talk style, where we talk about our unique topic. My topic is going to be about the money purpose paradox. I love talking about this. And we're going to have lots of different topics, which I'm going to share the page here below the episode just so you can check out who all the amazing speakers are. And maybe there's going to be one speaker you feel really drawn to, and you just want to listen to that on that day, right? Or there's going to be two, because I think we already talked a little bit about overwhelm oftentimes can come up when there's too much. And I'm totally one of those people, right? Where I easily like get very overwhelmed. This is actually one of the reasons why I have made a conscious choice no longer to be part of events where like there's too much. Like sometimes you have 40 people and there's no way
Hmm.
for people like to consume all of this, right? So I find like the small containers much more digestible. And again, it will be recorded. So this is the one day you call it an online retreat, right? Day.
Yes, yes. Hmm.
And then the beautiful thing is that after that retreat day, there's going to be every month a master class with one of the speakers. I think I'm going to be featured in September, if I remember correctly. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity, right? Where you can go deeper with one
Hmm.
of the persons or maybe with all of the persons. So then you can get to feel like, oh, who is maybe an aligned mentor? Or what is a topic that really speaks to you and your body, right? I'm always have this intuitive approach where it's not like about you have to consume everything. Maybe there's like these two, three people in this group of coaches, guides that has a really, really big message to you, right? And also,
Yeah,
if it's for you to join or not, like you know that you will feel this in your body. If it's aligned, the invitation is here. You can join us, and also you can join us only for the retreat day.
hmm,
And I think that's 111, right? 111.
hmm.
Okay, what the
Yes,
ones, the ones.
yes, yes. I just went with it.
Yeah, or you can decide, well, then you can decide to upgrade if you really love the first day, right? Or you can right away sign up for the full year and commit to that.
Correct.
And that's going to be 222, I believe,
Yes,
that people can sign up for. So it's also, I find it's super affordable. It's not like you overinvest and then you get into fight or flight. Oh my gosh, it's going to be a very relaxed experience where you can just receive some accountability, some encouragement, some new insights that may absolutely change your life. You never know throughout this
yeah,
entire journey. And I have to say, from my own journey as a coach, like it has always been the groups that I have been part of that have made the biggest difference, and when I showed up consistently.
yeah,
So this is also in a way, if you guys have been struggling with consistency and kind of like, oh, I'm here for 5 minutes and then they are all over the place, I can totally do that.
yeah,
And I think so many of us can relate to this. So this also gives you a little bit of like, hey, you committed to this, it's here, and it may give you a little bit of more consistency in your life, especially of receiving some support and guidance and also community. I think just for the community itself, because it may be that you're going to meet a person through this experience that is not even one of the speakers and something
right.
magical come out of it. That has happened for me so many times when I
Yes.
trusted my wise self, like this is the place for you to be.
Yes, yes. Oh, and I love that. And it's so true. I think that the community is going to be an important part of it. And so there will be a place within, again, this network that you'll be able to access, like you talked about the retreat and then the ongoing master classes, but there will be a community where people can gather online in a
Mhm.
private space where they can interact and ask questions of each other or just have a way to connect. And I think that people are looking for community
Mhm.
so much right now in this world that we're really feeling at times maybe isolated. And so again, that was another part of this process that was really important to me to have a container that is really aligned with people who are wanting to dive into topics and we have everything from gut health and hormones to like you talked about the money purpose paradox to a lot of spirit talk and ego and energy. So my background, I also have that degree in yoga therapy. And so when I look at the lens of the koshas, which if you're familiar with the koshas, it's our physical body, our mental body, our breath body, our spiritual body. That's the way I like to teach or look from that lens is it's not just affecting our physical body, which is the food and nutrition and nourishing ourselves through the physical body, but also going through each of those layers and how we can touch on each of those layers. And like you said, there might be people that might be drawn to one aspect or the other, or if they're willing to stay for the whole thing, it will touch on many different aspects of their life, and they might feel that they were finding information that they didn't originally think that they would find interesting or helpful. So yeah, I think it would be great. And that intention around that is just to simply show up for themselves and to be open-minded and open-hearted.
Yeah, I love this because so often the wisdom is in what we don't know, right? And I think you bring such a holistic set of speakers, meaning that it covers all these different areas in the body, right? The physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional. So I often find that we can fall into extremes, right? I think that's a typical human tendency because maybe you're way too much into the spiritual, but you have neglected the physical body, right? Or the emotional, or whatever it may be for you. Or you have completely ditched the mindset stuff, you know?
Mhm.
Because I have definitely gone through this phase. And then it's really about finding your unique balance with that. And that's why I'm actually also really curious to meet some of the other speakers. I know a few I already have connected with because, hey, maybe there's something really interesting for me as well. It's like, oh yeah, this is something that I thought is not relevant for me, but it's actually really, really eye-opening and opens new opportunities and avenues for me. So
Yes, absolutely. Because we're always learning and growing, at least I know from my experience. And even putting this whole process together, I've been so grateful again to these people, to you, and to some of the other leaders who have really opened up and given me some insights to your process and saying, here, this is might be a helpful tool, or having me on the podcast today. So super grateful to be embraced in that way for sure as well.
yeah, no, it's my pleasure. Yeah, I think the one thing that we have talked about is that well, people get so easily overwhelmed with too much information, and people are like, yeah, I've taken all the courses, not something else. And also, there's a little bit of this like, yeah, well, the new year doesn't really start until later because we have the Gregorian calendar and things like this, right? Um, but it's such a beautiful way with like just setting an intention. I think that is something we do every month with the moon, right? When we follow that
Yes.
cycle. And
Yeah.
I personally find, and this is my intuitive inner knowing, that we are shifting in such a profound time right now. So it's 2026. In human design, we have this big major year, 2027 is just around the corner. Like it's already there, basically, right? And to make this very simple, how I see this is that life will no longer let us be in our conditioned self, where we're not living to what's really authentically to us, right? Also, the job we are in and how we live in integrity with ourselves, most importantly, right? So I feel like life is almost forcing us to live true to who we really are. And if we fight that, we're going to create a lot of unnecessary suffering and struggle and
Hmm.
resistance because life is like, no, I want you to be here. And this is why I personally feel it has never been a better time to have a container which is not about information overwhelm at all. This is all about connecting, like you call it, your wise self. So you know, and only you know, that's the thing, right? I cannot tell you, Sarah cannot tell you, none of the other speakers is going to tell you. We are here to help you connect with your own true self because you
Hmm.
have that wisdom within you. But we get disconnected from it so much, right?
Yes.
because we
Yes.
outsource it and we feel like, no, something outside of ourselves has the answers. It's similar with human design, right? We can use human design in a way where we're like, oh, my chart is going to tell me everything and has all the answers for me. Like, no, that's not how it works. It's
Right.
more reflecting something back to you that you already know about yourself, but you kind of have not the courage to do that because listening to yourself, your wise self, is not easy. That's the thing. It
Yeah.
actually takes a lot of courage, right? Can you talk a little bit about that from your own
Yes.
experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. And I think that it is. I think part of what has led me down this path has been my own courage to keep following what I believed was my path and what I felt was important for my role in the world and what my messages were that I was meant to bring out into the world as well. And so I think that it is important to have people look inside of themselves and understand how, I mean, this again, this is where human design does come into play because following their authority and
Mm.
understanding how they make decisions can be such a peaceful, helpful tool to say, oh gosh, that's why it takes me longer to make decisions because I'm an emotional decision maker. So in my traditional or tropical chart, I am a ego authority. And so, which means that oftentimes I have to hear my truth. So I have to talk things out in order to see or feel how it kind of shows up for me. And it's interesting because I could definitely relate to times where I'll start talking about something and I'm like, nope, scratch that, forget
Yeah.
it, forget I said that. It's not resonating, it's not going anywhere. So we have these tools and resources exterior to us that help us really again peel back those layers, help us find that wisdom, help us find that courage. And I think that that's ultimately what, like you're saying, the next year or two is really about is, and I'm in midlife, and I think you would consider yourself
Yeah,
in midlife too. And I think that there's
definitely.
an aspect too to the midlife awakening, and that's primarily the group of people that tend to resonate with me and with my work is the people who are in midlife because they have so many changes happening in their life and they're trying to rebalance and find that courage, find that wisdom, and really come back to themselves. And it all does require that they are brave to reflect on all of this because it's really easy to float through life not being awake. And I think that this really helps people wake up to what is it that you really want for your life, and it's never too late. It's
Yeah.
never too late.
Yeah, I love that message. Yeah, I mean, this is something we could talk for hours about, but I think
Yes.
the one thing that I do want to say right now, which is so important, is that it's a little bit cliche, right? Like, yeah, just trust yourself and do your own thing. But like we said, it's actually not easy because what starts to happen when you are true to yourself, when you're being fully authentic, you speak your truth, right? You set boundaries, you say no to things that just don't feel right to you, and you only say yes to things that feel aligned to you. And then also you can change your mind at times too. And guess what? People are not going to like that often
Right.
because oftentimes we have lived a life, and I definitely can say most of my life I have been in that place where it was always about pleasing others, you
Mhm.
know, afraid of rejection, keeping the peace, and all of that. And that's not how you're going to experience ever freedom in your life. It's
No.
very, very constricted there. You know, it's like literally you walk on eggshells your entire life. And when you fully do the thing that is aligned for you, you're going to have to build a muscle of actually being okay with people not liking you. Because when you're being your most authentic self, you're gonna repel certain people that are not for you. And that's okay, right? Because there will be other people that are for them. And
Right.
also the communities that come together. We have different communities, we have different interests. There's also this variety. And this is why I think this community aspect that you're offering is so valuable because, yeah, you can learn in one day, like, okay, yeah, trust yourself more, be more authentic, and listen to yourself and all of that. But to actually implement it, to actually practice that is not easy because you're going to have to be okay with disappointing certain people and prioritizing what's right for you, right? That doesn't mean like we want to be mean to everyone at all. But for me, really, when every human is living their authentic blueprint, where they're being true to themselves, for me, that means that I am actually pleasing God. That's what it means to me because I have a divine task here, right?
Hmm.
So do
Yes.
you, and it's all different. And we know what that is if we listen.
Yeah.
But the hard thing is to actually follow through with that and being okay
Hmm.
that some people may really disapprove of it. You know,
Right.
I- I'm I'm
Absolutely.
I'm all about like we're in Sagittarius right now in the true sky. So it's all about expansion and possibility and all these things, right?
Yes.
But with that also comes for me, like the one thing that's actually impossible for me is to make it right for everybody, to please everybody, right? And that's a good
Yeah.
thing because it's meant to
Yeah.
be impossible. And we have to be okay to find the freedom and the expansion and being true to ourselves and listening to
Yes.
that wise self.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, I feel like that it was human design that helped me start that
Mm,
11, 12 years ago and really helped me understand because I think I just had so many feelings inside of myself of trying to understand why I felt different from other
mm,
people and trying to understand how I made decisions because I really wasn't sure that I ever had that gut response. I mean, I have feelings in my body, but I never, yeah. So all that really just helped me again go back to, and you talked about too, this 2026, 2027, this freedom. Also, I think is the sign of the horse, if we want to bring in Chinese astrology also, and that is all about freedom. And so I think there is this interesting perspective where people like you and me and all the people that we've gathered, all the healers that we've gathered through your wise year can help shed perspective on how people find that freedom for themselves and how they do tune into their authentic self and and learn that oftentimes people will respect you actually maybe even more because if you say no to the thing that you originally would have said yes to
mm,
right away and then regretted later, that ultimately you might find that people actually respect that you are saying, "Hey, I'm creating some boundaries for myself this year. This is what's important to me energetically, and I'm just not going to commit to things right away." Or one of the things that I love to coach people on, they know this is like my coin phrase that I just say, "Let me get back to you." Let me
mhm,
get back to you. Or what is my time? What is your time frame? When do I need to get an answer to you by? So that then that gives you capacity to be able to respond and not feel like you have to say yes right away. And it still may end up being a yes, and that's great, but you gave yourself the time and space to
mhm,
figure that out.
mhm. Yeah, I love that. Let me get back to you.
Mhm.
Ah, so wise. I love this. So I'm personally very excited for Sunday, where we all get together and we share a little bit of wisdom with all of you guys. So if it feels aligned for you, come join us. Like we said, you can just join us for Sunday. And then if you really resonate with some of the speakers, you can then also upgrade, right, for the whole year and be part of the community. But either way, you're going to have access to the replays. So even if Sunday is already a busy day for you and you cannot make it live,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, I
Cool.
will make sure that all the links are in the show notes. And for you, Sarah, this is always like my big question for all of my guests on the podcast. What's one big piece of wisdom that has been absolutely life-changing for yourself? We may have already mentioned it, but what is the one thing you want to share with those that are listening?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to bring about because I'm here with you in this human design space. And like I said, it did have such an
Mhm.
impactful impression on me and how I lived my life at the time. And I think what I love about what you and I have talked about too in my personal session is that I only knew of tropical. I only knew of the tropical traditional astrology, which also means that it's traditional in the sense of human design as well.
Mhm.
And so I'm learning this whole true sidereal side. And I felt like my tropical chart was very masculine. And
Mhm.
so when you and I met, because it was all about initiating and I'm a manifester, and I feel like that has been a necessary part of my life. And so when you and I met and I got to see my true sidereal chart for the first time, I said to you before that, I said, well, I'm hoping that this is much more in feminine energy because it may have been true my entire life that this was my chart, but I'm just seeing it now. And so I know that going forward, I can live in more ease and grace, and I don't necessarily have to make things happen like I used to have to. And so that aligns even with your wise year because I've just been in tune with what has guided me. And so you talked about the 11s, and part of my message behind setting this up, the message I say from my angels or my guides was 111, go with 11s on all of it. So immediately it was, well, what's 111? What's that day? And so I went to the calendar and it was a Sunday. Okay, check. Perfect. That's the first day that we'll kick this off. And I think that just again, continuing to remind myself to allow space between my reaction and that response and reaction, kind of looking at it that from that perspective, because I am a passionate person. And I also found out that in my true sidereal, I'm a manifesting generator, which makes a ton of sense because I am multi-passionate about a lot of different things. But ultimately, I'm very passionate about people, helping people
Mhm.
guide themselves, like I think you beautifully stated too, guide themselves back to themselves and having that courage to be willing to be open to the messages and hearing that. So yeah, you've created that for me, and that was probably a lot. That was a long answer to well, maybe it was a little bit of a complex question, but there's been human design has been so impactful in my life. And I think you also wanted to mention the 111 date
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I'm actually glad I asked you because once you started to talk about it, I was like, oh, I wanted to talk about this. So I love synchronicities. You guys probably know this by now. And I by now follow more closely the true sidereal, true sky transits also in human design, which is slightly different from tropical. And we are about to shift on January 8th. So on the 11th, we will be fully in that gate and with the sun, which is gate 26. I call them the genius archetypes, right? And this energy, along with the earth is going to be in gate 45. This is all part of the business community tribal circuitry. So it's about community, it's about abundance, it's about prosperity, it's about sharing resources, it's about teaching and guiding for the greater good of all, right? It's not
Wow.
about ego, that would be the shadow, right? Where it's like, uh, it's all about myself and everything because you have such a beautiful, like, energy with it's about the community and bringing people together and how can I actually serve people rather than like, make this out of integrity sales pitch, like this is the one thing you need, or you're not going to have a good year. Like that marketing language, I think, doesn't speak to us at all, and we don't use it ourselves. It's a really like, it's a gentle offering, and it aligns on the sky with this very powerful energy of community, being of service, teaching, abundance, prosperity. And it's also it's connected with the throat center and the ego center. So these two gates are there. Ego center is about our self-worth, right? And it's a very empowered energy, but in integrity we want to come from, right? And then the throat center is about communication and using our voice. So
Hmm.
I don't know what to say
Perfect.
then. This is like divinely timed. And the thing is, you didn't know
Yes.
about this. I just literally realized it because I was working with these energies, I, follow them very closely. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so aligned.
It's
It's like
so great.
perfect
I
sense
love
for,
it.
for Sunday. Yeah, because it's like
Yeah.
the cosmic is supporting us. We obviously always have access to these energies, but I find when, the sun and the earth are transiting through in real time, there is this like extra surge of supportive energy there. And we're just
Yes.
allowing it, we're receiving
Yeah,
it. Like,
exactly.
let's work with it.
I love that. I love all of that. And I'm so grateful that to have that information because that just reaffirms me even more that what we're doing and what we are bringing out through this whole project will be just a really helpful tool for people. And so again, thank you for having me here to share more about your wise year.
Yes, you're so welcome. Thank you for being here and sharing all this wonderful wisdom. Thank you all for listening. And if you feel a call, again, you will know this in your body. Come join us. I think it's going to be such a wonderful event. And again, you can just be there for Sunday if you want to check it out first. And then you can decide to join us for the whole year for some wonderful support and community so you can be your most wise self in this year 2026. With that, thank you all for listening, and I will be back with you on another episode. Ciao, everyone.